I want to tell you something. At the time of recording this, we just entered the fire horse, the year of the fire horse. And I'm feeling it, babe. I'm feeling spicy. So spicy. I'm feeling like, let's do this. Let's run. Let's go. We're going. It's time to go. Let's move. That is how I'm feeling. That energy might translate. We'll see. Week 12. Week 12. I didn't do this last week, even though that's really when I closed out the week. I think because, and what I mean by that is I delayed myself from recording for an entire week. And I think the reason is because I don't want to let go. Like, I've just really loved this process so much. And I know that it doesn't stop after I finish this week. But I'm just really grateful for this experience. And I've really loved it. And I've loved kind of the easiness of creating these videos every week, to be honest, because I don't edit them. So they don't take up a lot of time or bandwidth. And I don't really have an excuse because, you know, your girl's unemployed right now. So I need to be putting more time into videos. But regardless, I delayed this for a week because I wanna stay in this warm little feeling with this book. But alas, it is time. It's time. It's time to wrap up week 12. I know I am going to do an epilogue video, and I might do just like a big synopsis video of everything that I learned, and that will be fully edited. So there might be one more that is raw, unedited, and one more that is all my thoughts on paper shared. Okay. Let's go into it. Recovering a sense of faith. This is a really good chapter. I read it a few times, and at first I was like, I don't know. Today I was like, oh, this chapter, I don't even really remember what was going on because I had read it last week. And then I read it again this morning, and I'm like, this is such a good fucking chapter. Why did I think it wasn't as good? Obviously, I needed to read it a few more times. I needed that extra time to let it fully melt in and embody. But Miss Julia, okay. I feel like this chapter is very, not chaotic, but she talks about different topics and kind of jumps around. And I don't know a good way to segue it other than saying, here's what Miss Julia had to say about trust. So I'm going to read this entire first paragraph and some change because it's so good. Creativity requires faith. Faith requires we relinquish control. This is frightening, and we resist it. Our resistance to our creativity is a form of self-destruction. Ooh! We throw up roadblocks in our own path. Why do we do this? In order to maintain an illusion of control. Depression, like anger and anxiety, is resistance, and it creates disease. This manifests itself as sluggishness, confusion, I don't know, an air of I don't know. But the truth is that we do know, and we know that we know. Each of us has an inner dream that we can unfold if we will just have the courage to admit what it is and the faith to trust our own admission. Trusting yourself, really, it's trusting God, but it's also trusting the God within you. Trusting the deeper part of yourself and knowing I'm trusting God and God is within me. And so there is trusting myself and there is trusting the cosmic power that is obviously greater than the small part of myself, but that is ultimately the larger part of God. Oh gosh, my gosh. And this is the perfect way, I think, to end or to, I guess, start the last chapter of this book, because Lord knows I've talked a lot about the leap, babe, the leap of faith, the leap of faith. And at the beginning of this process, reflecting on my perspective about it then, that leap gave me so much anxiety. It gave me so much, there was so much fear with the leap, because I was like, I don't know where I'm going, you know, I don't feel comfortable, etc. And now, to compare myself a year later, I am in a free fall. Like this, it actually, I think this is fully a year since I started The Artist's Way last year. And I'm so grateful for it. And now I am in like a total free fall. And the funniest thing is that I've never been more faithful in my entire life. Like, I feel so connected to, I guess, the detachment of what is going to happen, and so in alignment with, I know that I'm doing what I need to do and what I should be doing in following my passions. And I never had that like so fervently in my being right now, because I was, taking a lot of actions, I guess, against my inner desires and my inner wishes. I always wanted to be more of a creative, and I was like, well, I guess I need to I can do something tangent in tandem to creativity and marketing. And I did this whole marketing exploration as a backup plan, really. And that's me leading with doubt, not leading with faith. And so right now I'm in a totally different mindset where I'm like, I want to move forward in my faith and what I know I should be doing, and the results will show. And I think right now some of my biggest fears are like income, and I'm okay right now. Thank the Lord. I'm okay right now, but obviously down the road, I'm like, okay, like what are ways that I can create income while also not abandoning my creative artist? Because that is unfortunately what I've done in the past, is I will abandon my creative artist to do what is sensible, to do what I need to do to get a big girl job and blah, 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 blah. And this go round, I'm like, I don't want to do that. And that goes to my admission. This is my admission. I am a creator. I am a content creator. That is what I do. That is actually what I've been doing. Even when I was employed for the company in the marketing, I would always create content for them, whether it was training videos, document manuals, digital items, banners, like all these creative things that I would do that I just can't help but do because it's who I am. I am a content creator, and that is my admission. And my content is a vehicle for connection and expression. And that is the truth that I'm aligning myself with more and more every day. And that is my admission. And it feels scary to admit something like that. I've recently started telling people, like, this is what I want to do. I want to create content. Not so much like, I want to be a content creator and like an influencer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know I'm like kind of putting on a voice and rolling my eyes. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think, I don't know, there's been an evolution for me at least where I feel like I'm removing a lot of the ego of that experience, where it's truly about connection and expression for me. Me being able to express the inner parts of me, which I know connect to other people, I know will connect and resonate with people. And that is truly, honestly, my intention. And it was just really funny the other day because I've been telling people, in in all my spare time, I've been creating videos, and I love doing short form videos especially. So I'll create a lot of shorts on YouTube and on TikTok. And I've been being honest about me wanting to be a content creator and just me throwing shit at the wall. Like, someone was telling me the other day, they're like, yeah, every time I go onto TikTok, I'm like seeing your morning routine. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm throwing shit at the wall. Let's see what happens, babe. Like, I'm experimenting, you know. I don't know who exactly I'm talking to just yet, though. The quote unquote audience, right? Who's your audience? Like, that's becoming more and more clear to me as I want to talk to my past self and anyone who I don't know, I guess resonates maybe with that former version of myself that isn't so much former, but it still exists within me, that I have moved beyond is kind of a stronger expression that I'd like to use, but that's who I'm talking to, and that's who I want to continue to talk to. And I'm kind of throwing shit at the wall to figure out, what am I creating? What is my message? Who am I talking to? And there's so much like pride in that. There's so much pride in that. So for this section, Julia also talks about how, you know, we're not accustomed to thinking God's will for us and our inner dreams can coincide. We think we have to like suffer and be dutiful and then die and be unhappy to live a meaningful life with God, especially in, I think, you know, our culture that's been heavily influenced by a lot of religions, right? That's a very common ethos in some religions. The truth is that we are meant to be bountiful and live. The universe will always support affirmative action. Our truest dream for ourselves is always God's will for us. If you follow your bliss, and doors will open where there were no doors before. It's the inner commitment to be true to ourselves and follow our dreams that triggers the support of the universe. Once we trigger an internal yes by affirming our truest goals and desires, the universe mirrors that yes and expands it. I also have a few other, resources that I like to watch and learn from them. One of them is Katie Steckley. I really enjoy Katie Steckley's work because she speaks to the aspiring content creator, and she does it in a very soft way, which I really appreciate. So I'll put her stuff down below if you're ever interested. But I watched all of her videos, and she was talking about how when she was in high school, because she's been doing this for a very long time, she started making videos in high school. She thought, I'm going to keep this a secret until it gets big enough to where I can then share it with people. And she said that did not happen at all. It wasn't until I started sharing with people what I want that I actually started to see things. And that made me very reflective, because I've been very secretive and quiet about this desire within me, which has really been a desire for a very long time. I've been quiet about it, and I've been sharing this with people. This is what I want to do. And more so than that, being honest with myself that this is what I want, and this is what I want to bring into the universe, into my experience. This is the business that I want to create, and I want to connect with people through this expression. And it was really funny, because one of my biggest fears was always telling my mom. I know my dad would be really chill, because my dad likes to create videos too. My dad has all the tech. He's like, I got the Osmo 360. He's like, he got the DJI. He's got all the shit. So I know that my dad would be very supportive because he also watches all my TikTok videos. I haven't sent them like my YouTube stuff yet, but he's very supportive. But I was always worried about my mom because, you know, my mom is very money conscious. She's a financial advisor. So her number one question is always going to be like, cool, how are you going to make money? Like she and Mom, if you ever watch this, I love you so much. But my mom is truly like, love that for you. Where's the money at? Is there money coming in? Because you can do whatever the fuck you want so long as there is money. This is big Capricorn energy. I think that's her rising or her moon. No, it's her moon. It's her moon. Anyways, I was always, there's that fire horse, baby. I'm like very ADD lately. But I was always really nervous about what my mom would say. And so the other day I told her, because she's like, oh, you could do, you know, marketing consultation and blah, 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 like marketing stuff. And I told her, that's really not the business that I want to create. Like, I'm not really interested in creating that. And I really would like to become a content creator. And I got really nervous where I was in the car and she didn't really say anything. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, she's mad. Like, she's mad at me. She thinks I'm being an idiot. And maybe she does, but she was like, okay, I've got to go right away, abruptly, right after I tell her my dream. She's like, okay, love you, gotta go. And I'm like, okay. And we start laughing because she knows that she like abruptly was ending the conversation. She's like, I've got so-and-so right here. Sorry, I've got to go. And I'm like, I'm telling you my hopes and dreams right now. And you're just like brushing this off. Okay. And she said to me, she's like, I don't know what that means. She genuinely said, I don't know what that means. So can you explain it to me? And that was really interesting for me to hear because she just didn't know. I thought like, oh my God, she's gonna disapprove, like she's judging me. She thinks I'm an idiot because I'm not doing something that's going to immediately produce money, because it's something that will generate income over time with the dedication, all the things. You build your community. But I was so insecure about it. And she was just straight up like, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what, so what is content? She literally was like, what is content? I don't understand. And so then I had to explain it to her and send her a snapshot of, you know, Gemini's AI overview of what it means and what the market is. Cause I know her eyes will see little money signs at that. But it was just really interesting because it was like, here's my fear of admission and me thinking, oh my gosh, someone is going to react like X, Y, and Z. And maybe they just don't know. Maybe that's just what it is. They just don't freaking know. And then that made me reflective of everyone else that I share this admission to. I share my desires, hopes, and dreams. I speak it into existence. There's a part of me that fears a response. But you know what? They don't know what I'm trying to curate. They don't know what exists in my mind, heart, and spirit, babe. Like, they don't know. They don't know because maybe they haven't tapped into that themselves. You know, we can only relate to others as deeply as we've related to ourselves. And I guess to God, the higher part of ourselves. So maybe they just don't know. And that's cool. They don't need to know. I know. And that's my admission. Let's move on. Mystery. The ideation process is shrouded in mystery. Sometimes we have an idea for something that isn't quite ready to be born yet. So she emphasizes the concept of let your ideas kind of exist in the molten magma of creation, that ethereal plane of consciousness. Let it just kind of mull around there until it starts to take form and it tells you that it wants to be born. At least that's how I interpret that, because it will tell you, an idea will tell you when it's ready to be created, because it'll be all you can think about. And I think about this a lot with yoga, because I must have like 100 playlists at this point of different theme ideas. I have written down all these different themes. I have little notes of, okay, here's some of the messages that are coming to me that I can use either for yoga and also content. Like, here's the message of what is coming to me. And how I know it's ready is maybe something will happen in life where it's then all I can think about, and the message is like fully sunk in, tapped in, locked in, loaded, and it is ready to come out. And so that's kind of what I think of this mysterious process of creation is. Everything exists in the ether, and then slowly, like a child, she compares it to a child, it starts to take form, right? And then it wants to be born. When it comes to, I guess, continuing our what do I want to say? When it comes to maintaining like our imagination and our creativity, she really emphasizes the power of a hobby. So she asks a really important question in this, talking about art with a capital A. She says, sometimes we take our art too seriously. Like, we're an ambitious society, and it's often difficult for us to cultivate forms of creativity that do not directly serve us in our career goals. I feel like that is so relatable in this day and age, because people are constantly, I guess, monetizing their hobbies. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's like a piece of advice that a lot of people will give, is they're like, if you want to create extra income on the side, like, how can you monetize your downtime? How can you monetize your creative hobbies? And there is something really beautiful about opening yourself up to the abundance of that and to explore creativity in that way. But I often also think about it like, oh my gosh, I can't just enjoy something these days without needing to like turn it into a money-making machine, right? I even think about that when like playing Minecraft, because there was a while where I didn't really have, I guess, as much creative vision or expression as I have now. So when I was thinking about ways that I want to creatively express myself, I think this was also really before yoga, because yoga took up a lot of my time in the creative expressive process. But before I started teaching yoga, I was like, maybe I can make, Minecraft videos, because I really enjoy Minecraft, and I might as well, right, kind of see if I can create something from that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's interesting looking back on it now. There are some things that I want to create, right? I want to unveil from the mystery of creation, and I want to use as a vehicle for monetization, quote unquote. But there are also just things that I want to do that I don't want to be fucking content, dude. I think especially as content creators, we get hung up on how can I turn everything into content? And that's when you see a lot of people get really burnt out too, because they're recording all facets of their life and they're like, babe, I just want to fucking live right now. Like, can I go through this experience without having a camera in my face? So that is something that I'm very aware of. And I'm glad that she mentions in this chapter, she pretty much says, life is meant to be an artist state. We're supposed to have fun and create. And as a creator, that expression comes in so many different ways. It's in our nature to want to create, and that comes through our hobbies. I love to garden, that doesn't necessarily mean like I'm going to go all in on creating content or being a gardener and monetizing my love for creativity or my love for gardening. Same with a bunch of other things. Like there are so many things that you can love and have as a joyful hobby that don't need to provide money and income for you. And I welcome that. I welcome that as a form of play and fun and just inspiration to come back to the creative self. So yeah, that's a really good like note for thought, especially as I embark on this content journey. Escape velocity. I love this concept, which is when you are, I guess, leaving your old life in pursuit of a new one or heading to on the trajectory to a new state of being, a new life. The universe, life, God will throw a test at you. The test is going to look like almost, she doesn't explain it like this, but I would describe it as the test is like a seductive call back to your former self. The test is, and my example of one of the tests was, you know, when before like being let go from my job and stuff, I really felt very dissatisfied and discontent, and I was making moves towards building my own business, or at least like starting foundationally, like starting the structure of that business, I guess. And my old boss had reached out to me and was like, can you create a website for me? And it would be doing a lot of stuff that I'd already done before, which I don't have a problem with. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Because I'm ready to move on, and maybe this is something that can be an aid to moving on. And there was a part of me that felt like a sinking in my stomach, because I know in my heart of hearts, like, that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to be creating websites and shit for, frankly, anyone but me. Like, that's the truth of it, babe. Like, that was a project that wasn't in alignment with what I want for myself. The admission of me moving into content and creativity, that wasn't in alignment with it. And that's the test. The test is really the universe asking you, hey, you know, I see you're getting ready to move. Are you sure you're really done with that period of your life? Did you really learn the lesson that you ought to learn? Are you really done with that energy, babe? That's what the test is. And I feel like I also feel like I had that in like relationships and stuff before getting with Eric. I had a couple tests where it was like, you know, unsavory partners or whatever reaching out. And it was the test of, hey, do you still want to be treated like shit and treat yourself like shit through these other people? And it was just really funny because in circumstances like that, in a relationship, when you, especially if you have experience in relationships where you're like, babe, I am not being treated well, you get sick of it to a point. Sometimes you have an experience that you're like, I am so fucking sick of this. Literally anything in the opposite direction right now is going to be the way that I'm going to go. And that's what happened with a relationship with Eric. He was like the complete opposite interaction that I ever had, and I was like, okay, I'm going in this direction. And then it was like miss me. The test, evade the test, baby. Like, miss me with that old bullshit. Like, I am not interested, can't be bothered. Escape the test. The universe is like, Or there's like a little energy that's like, oh, come back. You know, there's maybe self-doubt involved. That's like, oh, do you really want to move on? And what's so great about it is that the first time you take the test, it's more tough. You're like, am I making the right decision? Because all I know is maybe what I've been conditioned to know or the actions that I've taken in the past. And then once you make the decision that is in alignment with not where you've been, but where you want to go, where you're trying to go, the test becomes so much easier after that. And you're like, miss me with that shit for sure. This is probably the best section of the entire book because she talks about magic, which I love. Sometimes, kind of the precursor, when we're going through the test, sometimes we will sabotage ourselves. We'll reach for that friend who we know is going to kind of draw us back to our old version of ourselves. We'll reach for that. She calls them a wet blanket. You know, sometimes we'll go to mom and our mom is a wet blanket. Or our friend is a wet blanket. She says that we will dampen our own progress by hindering ourselves. And how do we evade this? How do we evade it? Zip the lip, button up, keep a lid on it. Don't give away the gold in terms of what you want. Always remember, the first rule of magic is self-containment. You must hold your intention within yourself, stoking it with power. Only then will you be able to manifest what you desire. That's so good because that's really what, to me, that is what yoga is. And that's a message that I really love to emphasize in class, at least, you know, in power yoga. It's very much about the ujjayi, which is keeping your energy flowed within you. It's a process of building internal heat, your fire, right? It's about burning your heat. And when you set your intention, you contain it. You seal your intention between your lips and you stoke it through your breath. And this is how you manifest and how you get to where you want to be. And if that means not sharing some shit with people, don't share it with them, babe. Don't indulge or tolerate anyone who throws cold water in your direction. Set your goals and set your boundaries. Oh, babe, I'm going to write that. I'm like writing that. That's going to be my new background. Like, that is so good. Set your goals and set your boundaries. And this makes me really reflective, actually, of what happened this past week. I got a bad review in yoga. I taught a sculpt class. A girlie wasn't having it. She didn't like it. I cued for jumping jacks. She was pissed. She was pissed. And I received a negative review, and it was really heartbreaking. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's really devastating when something that you've put so much of your mind, heart, spirit, and soul into, so much time into, is not received well. And in that heartbreak, I had grace for myself to say, okay, you know, I also don't teach sculpt very often. I don't take sculpt very often. Like, I obviously have my certification and I can teach. Is it my favorite thing to teach ever? No, it was also a last minute gig. So like, okay, I need to show myself grace for that. Is that an excuse? No, it's not. But I need to show myself grace for things and to say, okay, you know, like, jumping jacks, like, no problem, babe. I can just take out the jumping jacks. Like, that's not a big deal. But it was more so for me, what was really hurtful about it was that it was a mean, nasty, comparative, like, review and feedback that frankly, like, wasn't helpful or inspiring to help me move forward with my skill as a teacher. And what's really ironic about it is because this was kind of form of a test. It's funny because last week I was very reflective on feedback versus opinion. And I even created a video on it about how the only opinion that really fucking matters is your opinion of yourself. Because especially on the internet these days, everyone has a fucking opinion. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone is like, ooh, I have an opinion, babe, and I'm going to tell you. And here's why you're wrong. And here's why I'm right. Like, this is kind of the internet these days. Not all corners of it, right? Not all corners of it, but like that is very much a big experience that's going on. So I was very reflective of that last week. And it was almost like the test was the universe being like, oh, I see you. You dabbled in learning something. Let's see if you embody it, babe. It's so funny when the universe does that. The universe is like, oh, so you got a little taste of something. Let's see how you do when I test you with this wisdom. And so it's been a humbling experience, me coming back to me, remembering and reminding myself, what is my opinion of myself? Yeah, there are things that I can improve on. Yeah, my classes or anything that I do, frankly, isn't going to be for everyone. How do I feel about it? Do I feel like I lived up to the barometer of my own expectation? Is this what I want for myself? And you know what? Even if I don't meet my own quote unquote standard for what I'd like, because it's always like this, the internal standard that I have for what I want to achieve is always going to be up here, babe. And I'm like here, right? So even if I'm never going to reach that standard because my standards are so high and I like that because it gives me something to reach towards, even if that is the case, I am proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. You try doing literally anything. Like the people who talk shit the most are the people who've never tried to do something creative or who have tried to put themselves out there like that. And that is a gross generalization that I'm making, but I know in my heart, like anyone who has ever gone through the creative experience of teaching a yoga class, creating content, putting themselves out there, they intrinsically will have a lot of peace and understanding and compassion in their heart to not hold other people to a crazy standard or to lead with something that is more than just criticism, right? Because we've all been in the situation where we know, okay, like any artist, a musician, only God may judge, babe. And I personally don't believe in a judgmental God. That's just my vibe. Like, I believe God is literally love. He's gonna love me at all times. So I need to show that to myself. And that's the only opinion that matters. And being like, don't let anyone who throws cold water in your direction, do not indulge or tolerate them. Oh, that sunk in hard with me. I'm like, I'm not gonna give you the time of fucking day, babe. Like, you're right. I'm not gonna indulge that shit, even when it comes from me, even when it comes from my internal state. Why would I indulge that in myself? Me talking shit to myself? Me throwing cold water at myself, being like, oh, you're not good enough, you're this, that, and blah, blah, blah. Why would I tolerate that talking to myself like that if I'm not going to tolerate someone else talking to me like that? Because there's a way to inspire people, to give them feedback, to help them grow. And not everyone needs to do this. Like, it comes back to the age-old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, babe, don't say it at all. Like, you don't need to shit on someone, go after, like, literally their income stream. Like, you don't need to shit on someone to make your point known. Maybe you need to find other ways to express yourself. And we're not having it. We're not tolerating it. We're not indulging it. We're not listening to it. Bye. What a great way. Told you, I'm feeling really spicy. It's the fire horse. I'm going to read the creativity contract because that's where this really ends up. I'm going to read it and we're going to sign out of here. Creativity contract. My name is Cassandra Appleby. I'm a recovering creative person. To further my growth and my joy, I now commit myself to the following self-nurturing plans. Morning pages have been an important part of my self-nurturing and self-discovery. I, Cassandra Appleby, hereby commit myself to continuing to work with them for the next 90 days. Artist date have been integral to my growth in self-love and deepening my joy in living. I, Cassandra Appleby, am willing to commit to another 90 days of weekly artist dates for self-care. In the course of following the artist's way and healing my artist within, I have discovered that I have a number of creative interests. While I hope to discover many of them, my specific commitment for the next 90 days is to allow myself to more fully explore content creation. My concrete commitment to a plan of action is a critical part of nurturing my artist. For the next 90 days, my planned self-nurturing creative action plan is to create as much content as possible. I have chosen blank as my creative colleague. I don't have a creative colleague just yet, but I'm open. I'm looking for one. And blank as my creative backup. I am committed to a weekly phone check-in. Not too sure on that part of the contract, but it's fine. I've made the above commitment and will begin my new commitment on, there's a blank, immediately. I begin my commitment immediately. Signed, Cassandra Appleby. Today is February 18th, 2026. What an absolute thrill. Yeah, this has been a really fun series to make. It's definitely given me something to create, even if I've taken, a good hiatus in between. I'm really proud of myself for finishing this, for still creating what I know needed to be creative, documenting this process. I hope to one day watch these videos and to feel proud. I want to look back on this and I want to feel so proud and to herald it as a major milestone in my creative process. And I really genuinely, truly hope to look back and be proud of how far I've come. Like the future version of me, I want them to be like, wow, I've done so much. I've let so much out and I've shared so much because of the artist way. And I also hope to do this fully again. I did consider going back to back and doing it again because I know in the beginning I took a big hiatus, but I think I'm going to give it like at least a year, maybe 2, and then I'm going to do it fully. And for the 12-week period, like 75 hard, like I'm going to do it for that time frame 100%. Or at least that's my goal. That's the intention that I'm setting right now, because I know that blockages will come up. They always come up. Like they even come up now, even though I've been doing I literally been doing morning pages for the past year. I always, in my morning routine, I meditate and I do my morning pages. So I didn't lose the habits of the artist way, but I know that blockages will still come up because they have. There's still going to be fear. And so I'm just always going to be continuously healing them. And what's really powerful about this is that I have the tools to be able to do that, to recognize, hey, this is just a blockage. We can overcome that. And how? We just post. Love you so much. To my future self, I'm so fucking proud of you, babe. Okay, bye.